This is a quiet room here.
All right, we are now joined by Christopher Bell, driver of the number 20 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. We will get right to questions. Let's go up here to Holly, and then Bob.
Hi, Christopher. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. I hate to start off with kind of a bummer, but how long did it take you to get over the race on Sunday? I know that was such a huge disappointment for you considering how the day had gone.
Yeah, it definitely was. But I'd say Monday night we kind of closed the book and moved on. And there's a lot worse positions to be in. And obviously once that disappointment wore off, you realize that we're running really good. Had a great day at Las Vegas, and we're ready to try and carry the momentum over to Homestead.
Let's go to Bob.
Bob Pockers, Fox Sports. Your radio chatter after the race got a lot of play, and a lot of people were like, it's great to see emotion out of Christopher Bell. So I'm curious, I mean, I assume you saw it or heard it, or obviously you said it. So are you embarrassed by doing it? Is it something like, this is not who I want to be? Or are you like, it's okay that people see emotion from me?
I mean, I don't know. I own it. I try to, not curse, but in the moment it was a very passionate. I don't know. I just was overcome by emotion at that point in time, and I don't know what to say other than I just didn't even really think about what I was saying. Right? It was just emotion and disappointment and. Just passion.
So do you care that it's out there, or like are you like, man, that's not, or do you like, yeah, it's fine, it's just.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't really care. Yeah, I don't. I normally I'm not on Radioactive, so I think that was one of my first appearances on Radioactive, but. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter to me. It was a passionate moment, and the sport is full of those, and I guess I am glad that I contributed once in my life.
Let's go up here to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and CatchFence.com. We look at last weekend, and Hamlin beat himself, right? And Larson, they beat themselves. I mean, they both had issues in the pits. When you have a day like you did, where you didn't, and I mean, executed just basically everything you possibly could have done, do those losses hurt more than, if you just had like a complete screw up?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, kind of what goes back into Bob's question about my radio chatter, and that's why it hurt so bad, was because everything went literally exactly how we dreamed it up, and we still lost the race. So you'll have that. And Adam told me whenever we very first started racing together back in 2021, he said, I can probably count on one hand the amount of times we won the race with the best car and everything went smoothly. And majority of your wins come from the days where you don't have the best car, or other people make mistakes and it falls into your lap. And unfortunately, that was one of those deals, and that's happened a lot to us this year. Between, you can start rattling off the races, but it's been a lot of races this year where we have executed and done everything well and didn't win. So yeah, you'll just that's why it hurts so bad though.
So the next two races, I mean, clearly you won here last year, so you're beyond proficient here, right? And Martinsville is another good track for you. What did you and Adam discuss? I mean, is the fallback just max points? Go out and, I mean, you did as well as you could do in the stages other than win both. You won one, finished second in the other. So, I mean, is it just at least give yourself a buffer so you're not scratching your head at Martinsville if two other guys win between now and then?
Yeah, well, I think that's what we're planning on. And, that's why you're in the round of 8 trying to transfer to the round of 4. You're never really safe, and the three of us, William, Kyle, and myself, have kind of the way that the cards fell, we're essentially point racing each other, and the guys below that, they are far enough below that they're basically out of the points, and they're racing for wins. So certainly we'll know more after we get through Homestead on Sunday night, but right now we're planning on, there being 3 winners, and then the 3 of us, William, Kyle, and myself, are racing for that last point spot. So there's a good chance that William, Kyle, or myself could win this weekend, and it could all change. But plus 42 sounds great until you realize that every time someone wins, that cut line just shrinks more and more and more, that gap to the cut line. So you're never safe, and it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle all the way until the checkered flag at Martinsville, and everybody knows how important that those wins are, and that goes back to last week, why I felt the way that I did.
Do we have any other questions? Let's go to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports, and in the discussion about passion in the sport, can you take me back to what was the passion you had in the sport as a youngster? I mean, look, the idea of being in the Cup Series is a dream for most people, but they don't have it. And there's a lot of people at short tracks that have a whole lot of passion that are doing that on weekends. What do you recall the passion or the moment of like, hey, this is the path for me, and this is the most important thing for me?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, because the path to get here is so unclear as a kid, in my shoes growing up dirt track racing. And the thing that is just so hard to fathom is there are literally 38 cars that race on Sunday, and how many racers in the United States want one of those 38 rides. So just the number is so small, and to get yourself in this position is so hard that as for me, I never thought it was a possibility. So whenever the doors started opening up, whenever I started driving for Toyota in the USAC ranks, it was, the door was opened up, but the path to get through it was so far away, because now all of a sudden, okay, you're in with a manufacturer, but at the time, I think we had JGR and MWR, which, what was that, 6 cars? I don't even know, but still, just you go from 38 to 6, and it becomes so incredibly difficult to get one of those rides. And I never really saw the pathway to Cup, I guess. It was hard for me to envision that, even whenever I was in Xfinity. At the time, JGR had Eric Jones in the 20 car, and then younger veterans with Denny Carl, and Kyle Busch. So it was like, how am I ever gonna get into one of those seats? Like, those guys are gonna be around forever. Eric's young; he's gonna be there. So I just was always content with what I was doing, and I never really tried to make it to the next level. I just tried to execute and win races with where I was at in my career, and then fortunately those results brought other opportunities from that. But I was never looking forward. I was just trying to do the best that I could do in the situation that I was in.
Obviously, you talk about the manufacturer involvement and how it helped you move along on your career, and obviously there's been stuff talked about in the past about just the investment that the manufacturer has made into you, and I won't say creating Christopher Bell, but molding him maybe in a way. To be this close and to have done what you've done the last 2 years and reaching the championship for, is there, I don't know if the word's internal pressure in the sense of this manufacturer backed me and has helped mold me and has helped do all these things. I need to produce, I need to reach this ultimate goal that I'm not going to say you were bred for, but that was basically what you were kind of in one sense built for. If I'm taking it the wrong way, then tell me. No,
I mean, that's it. You're right. But the thing is that whenever we started this journey back in 2013 of me joining Toyota, we didn't have a goal to be a Cup champion, right? It was just always like, put him in this position and let's see what happens. How does he do whenever he gets late model races? And then, I did well. And then, okay, well, let's see how he does whenever he does truck races. So the goal was never to be a Cup champion. The goal was just see how he does. And even whenever I got into the Cup Series, it's not my goal is to be a champion, but I mean, I don't think from the Toyota side they were like, all right, you need to be a Cup champion, or that's the goal, to be a Cup champion. And I'm proud to be competing for a Cup championship, and I'm proud to reward them with wins. And obviously, it would mean the world to me to be able to bring another championship to them. So, yeah, I mean, it's just been a heck of a ride for sure. And that's one thing that I'm proud of with Toyota, is that they never put that pressure on me, right? Like you need to be a Cup champion, or you need to be an Xfinity Series champion, or whatever. Like, it was just always, see what you can do, and then the rest was, kind of talked for itself.
Is that how you approach yourself? Let's see what I can do, because you always hear athletes put the most pressure on any athlete is what they put on themselves. So can you say, hey, let's see what happens, or are you more the mindset, I gotta do whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree that I put the most pressure on myself out of anybody. But for me, I always just try to not envision the end goal, and just focus on what the process is to get there. And that's always been my MO. I've never been one to set goals of like, you have to do this many top fives or this many wins or whatever. And I guess a little bit of it is like the goal ever since I got into the sport was like to make that championship race and be a part of that Final Four. But there's many ways to get there to that. So I've always with myself just focused on the job and not the end goal of like saying I need this many stats or this many race wins.
Is that from your dad, or the early racing days when you guys it was more about just going out because you didn't have the equipment to do as much? I mean, does it come from that, or where is that? This seems like an interesting perspective, and not to get caught up in everything that can swirl around you. Yeah,
I mean, it definitely stems from the people that I grew up around and have instilled knowledge inside of me. I go to my dad and my uncle and my car owners in my younger years, where they I guess molded me into who I am. So that was always what I've been trained, is not focus on what's out there, just focus on doing your job the best that you can.
Thank you.
We're gonna go up here to Holly.
I forgot my question now. I wanted to ask you, so you are the most recent winner at 2 of the 3 upcoming races here and at Phoenix. Is there any sort of advantage whatsoever to that you bring in, even if it's just kind of mentally coming in as the guy that's won here, most recently?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the advantage that I have, and a lot of us have, is that we know that we're going to be competitive, but every race is a new race. And just because you won this race last year or Phoenix in the spring, it does not guarantee results by any means. And it doesn't mean that you're the favorite or whatever. It's just you have a good feeling that you're going to be competitive because the track hasn't changed, the cars haven't changed, the rules package hasn't changed. So you'll be in the hunt is a good way to look at it. But the results of the previous race don't guarantee anything.
And does the team feel any more up, for lack of a better word, because they come in? I mean, there's got to be some sort of something good that can be said for. Yeah, I mean the biggest thing is just knowing that you have a good baseline, and that you're gonna be fast, and there's gonna be a group of us that are fast tomorrow in practice and qualifying, and you take your top 10 guys, and they're probably going to be the top 10 guys, but the running order will be shuffled a little bit here and there. So it's I mean, the best way that I can explain it is we know that we're going to be competitive. We were competitive last year here. We were competitive at the Phoenix in the spring. So going back to those racetracks, we expect to be competing for the race win, but to say that you're going to win the race because you won last year is just false and inaccurate.
Let's take our final question from Jordan.
Jordan Gaffney, Athletic. I apologize, this was already asked. When you see a driver, or anybody, win that opening race in round one in this, do you think, man, they've got such an advantage? Because we hear a lot of talk about that. Or is that an advantage? Do you think it like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an advantage to just have a clear headspace and time to prepare. I go back to my 2 years of making it. Now, everything that I'm saying, Blaney completely blew up last year. But making it from Martinsville, it was just, everything was such a blur and a rush of like, holy smokes, you just won the race. And then Nancy's like saying, we got to book flights to get to Phoenix early. And then it's like, now we have to do the simulator and get extra simulator time. And the teams have their routine of like preparing the car for every week. But, the Phoenix car, it is a special car. If you're in the Final Four, like, it deserves to have more time and effort put into it. So the winning that first race is just huge, and it's an advantage. And I noticed that from winning Homestead last year, of having that extra week of being able to prepare.
Can I ask a follow-up? What did you, in that extra time you had as a driver, what did you do that maybe you weren't allowed to previously?
We, at least for me specifically, I went to the simulator like all week from Homestead to Martinsville, and the track that I drove was not Martinsville. So, it was, and then I remember just doing like Q runs and different setups and just all of the things that, like, literally we won at Homestead, and then Martinsville is just like, you didn't even speak of it. Like, it was just all about Phoenix. So, I haven't been in that position where you won the first race, but it was a big difference between winning Homestead and winning Martinsville.
All right, thanks for the time, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, there's the checkered flag. Great job, driver.